Hello and welcome, and on today's show we'll be discussing the ever-blurring world between mountain bikes and e-mountain bikes. And to discuss that hot topic is friend and colleague Andrew Dodd from EMBN Tech. Doddy, thanks for joining us. Low to mid-assist e-mountain bikes in particular are getting quite hard to differentiate between mountain bikes.
I mean the streamlined battery and stuff?
There's many things that contribute to this. Obviously, there is the battery, which now is integrated into the down tube. We've got the small motors, such as the Fazur and the TQ motor on the track. Actually, do you know what? The track is a good example.
It is. I was going to say the EXE and the EX. I mean, they're so close.
Do you know what? We were out filming the Track Fuel EXE on the trail, and about 6 people came past and said, "Oh, is that new fuel?" I was like, "Yeah, new fuel." Of course, you know.
They never realised.
I mean, it's, you know, the down tubes. The down tubes now are pretty much the same size as you get on an analog bike. The TQ motor is around the bottom bracket, and I think that's possibly the main thing that helps to kind of keep that traditional mountain bike silhouette, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you know what? I've got to say this because this is going to forever bug me. Right? So when the whole mid-powered bikes came out, I was thinking, oh, this is amazing because they're closer to regular bikes. I'm going to love these. They just don't do it for me.
Really?
I like full power, and then that's reflected. I don't know if it was Louis that told me this, or
hold on, Louis, you mean the e-bike expert behind the lens?
Yeah, it might have been. What I was going to say is, I think it might have been Louis that said this. So met someone out on a trail, and this person had one of the lighter e-bikes, and they were like, "Oh, how'd you find it?" And he's like, "Actually, I find it a bit because I can't go out with my friends who've got full power bikes, and I can't go out with my friends who've got regular bikes, not e-bikes." And this particular rider was like in no man's land. Yeah, and I kind of understand that.
However, we are talking about the looks of the bikes, not the actual
being shallow
action of the bikes.
I'm good with being shallow.
Okay, let's be shallow. Let's be shallow. I mean, let's face it, people buy bikes for the looks, don't they?
Yeah.
But I think, I think it's the fact that it looks like a mountain bike is the reason some people buy them.
Does that mean we're not going to talk about that thing that's in the script?
Look, let's not go into that. But I want to qualify what you just said there. And I think it's really important that people do buy the right e-mountain bike. But when you ride a mid-assist to low-assist bike compared to a mountain bike, it is significantly more grunt to it because obviously, up to 60 Newton meters of torque on, say, the on-field bike. Yeah. So I think it depends. It depends on where you ride and who you ride with. I think you're dead right. So if you consider someone who's maybe not as fit as a big group of mates who are riding mountain bikes, then a bike such as, the Pivot Shuttle SL or the Track Fuel, they're great bikes to have, And if you ride in the mountains and you don't ride with mates, you ride by yourself and you need to access some of those peaks which are out of the way. So
you need everything.
I think the use side of things, I think that's a massive subject we don't think we need to get into today.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm talking about the visual, of the bikes.
As far as visuals go, those mid-powered bikes, some of them are staggeringly gorgeous.
Yeah, I think we see
the Trek's a really good example. That's the one I saw you riding.
So we've talked about, we talked about the battery, we're talking about the motor, but there's other things as well that contribute to this. There's the fact that the displays, these days the displays are integrated into the top tube.
Exactly what I want.
You've got minimalist remotes on the handlebar. Yep. It's all very stealth, It's like we're trying to get rid of as much stuff as possible.
I mean, it only feels a few years back when EMBN started, a bolt-on battery on top of your down tube and then the massive display on the...
Yeah, those days seem to have gone, to be honest.
Yeah.
But folks, what do you think? Do you actually like, this sort of minimalist sort of displays and design, or do you actually like? Some people actually like to have a bolt-on battery,
and I get that.
They like to have displays that you can look at the metrics, your heart rate, the amount of watts the motor's kicking out, and things.
Do you know who loves all that stuff?
Who?
Neil, the Don. He'll always say that he doesn't like gadgets on his bars, but that guy, he's a sucker for it. He's got like quad lock, he's got like all the bolt-on stuff
he has
on his bike. Absolutely mad for it.
Doddy, before we go into the news, sorry to interrupt you with Louis there, but actually what you said is really important. The fact that people do buy the right e-mountain bike, because there's a big difference between a low to mid-assist bike and a full power bike.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, in my eyes, if you've got a group of riding friends that perhaps the majority is still on regular mountain bikes, it would make more sense to me to be on the more powered bike.
For what reason?
Two. Well, because I can run it on eco quite happily, but I can also offer to tow someone who's maybe struggling in a group. There's always going to be someone that's less fit than the other riders.
Yeah.
It just feels like a better fit to me for who I ride with.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and I think it is important, like I mentioned, for you guys to get the right e-mountain bikes. Now, moving on to the news, we've got some interesting bikes this week, Doddy. First off is this one from Moeller. It's I think it's like a touring style bike. It's got 2 batteries, 1,125 watt hours with the bolt-on battery.
Gearbox on there?
It has got the one here. It's got the roll-off edition, I think.
Okay.
But 28.4 kilos,
yeah.
14-speed internal geared hub, £9,339. It's a lot of money. But this isn't the bike that interests me. It's actually the new bike from Giant, the Giant Stormguard E+1.
Ah.
There's a few things that I brought this up because I think one, obviously from the tech point of view, there's the suspension design, which I think is pretty interesting. Secondly, it's got hub drive on it, but I think the whole idea of these sort of touring commuter style bikes, I think interests me. I think you mentioned...
Well, it's funny you should say this because I look at that and it makes a lot of sense to me, but there's automatically a brand, I think, that's just done this better.
Really?
Yeah.
And that is?
Mondraker.
Right.
So Mondraker have just released, and I was saying this to Steve earlier, some brands release bike by bike and other brands just go, there you go, there's our new range. And that's what they've done with 68 models in it. Filtering through the catalogue, I didn't initially look at the e-bike stuff, but there was a bike that caught my eye. I think it's called a Chaser. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Chaser.
Oh,
and
that's nice.
It's exactly
that's
this sort of
nice.
bike.
I mean, so you got...
That's still a mountain bike frame in there.
Yeah.
But you've got your mud guards, you've got your pannier rack, you've got your stand.
Yeah.
And to me, that makes perfect sense.
So
touring, urban, whatever you want.
So, folks, the Chaser RX, just launched by Mondraker. It's got Bosch Performance CX motor in there. It's got 750 watt-hour batteries. As Doddy mentioned, it's got the mud guards, but 29-inch wheels. Got this.
You can literally off-road that as well. No worries.
Well, therein lies the challenge. Doddy, I think while we're on the subject of the ever-blurring lines between mountain biking and e-mountain biking, I think it might be of interest to some of you guys. There is this book has just been launched by Rafa. It's pretty much the history of some of most of the mountain bike characters of the world. I'm looking. Well, there you go.
One of the most important of all time.
Possibly the most incredible downhill, most successful downhill racer ever, Anne Caroline show cyclist. Amazing. I just popped in that page like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Anne Caroline. There's all the people that make this transition from mountain bikes to e-mountain bikes. I mean, most of the people in this book, I guarantee you, will have done that. I mean, there you go. Mikey Sinyard, Specialized, big e-mountain biker.
There'll be less if you go that way, because you're going back in time, Steve.
Actually, yeah. But
I mean, it's a really good documentation of a lot of people that you need to know about in mountain biking.
I think so. So, I mean, a lot of people on EMBN might, they come straight from, I don't know, some of the background and not known the mountain bike heritage. And I think it is important to see where this very young sport has come from. I mean, it's only, I think, 1980s, wasn't it?
Technically, yeah.
Late 1970s.
Well, 81 arguably was the first official year a mountain bike you could be...
That was the stump jumper?
No.
Oh.
Actually, no, the stump jumper technically, yeah. But
stump jumper was the first production mountain bike,
I'm just thinking of the original Gareth Fisher mountain bikes brand, which was 1981, the first year.
Okay, so like Specialized came up with the first production stump jumper in around about the same era, but that was one of their most important bikes.
Was that when Mike got one of Gareth Fisher's bikes? And sent it to the factories in Taiwan.
But now it's quite funny, the Levo is now Specialized's most important bike today, many decades later. But folks, Rafa, Off-Road Heroes, check it out.
Good stocking filler, that.
Talking about shopping, Black Friday sale, 50% off T-shirts, jerseys on the EMBN shop. There's loads of very cool new kit there, actually, especially the new T-shirts. New T-shirts is the first time I've got one of these. I've seen lots of people wandering around them.
I don't have any EMBN gear at all.
Oh, here we go. Doddy, I'll buy you some for Christmas. But folks, check out the shop. Okay, folks, time now for Out and About. That part of the week where we get to see all the special places that you guys have been to. Starting things off, Doddy, we've got someone here with a bolt-on kit, I think.
This is awesome.
This is Wim, and with converted 14-year-old bull's bike, towing the kid.
So good. This is in the Hoofalays. They have a cross-country XCO World Cup there.
They do,
Amazing.
don't they?
Yeah.
And next up, we've got ride bikes with a Carne remote in Finale League.
Familiar location.
But Doddy, it's this last picture which does it for me. This is Piers out in Lake Atitlan in Guatemala.
That is a postcard mountain bike holiday shot.
It's insane.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, it's a postcard holiday, not just a mountain bike holiday. I think I'd like to go there.
In this picture, we rode the trails and then 1,000 steps through the town all the way to the boat dock. I hope you stopped at a bar. Enjoyed that view.
Piers, very, very jealous of this picture.
Beautiful shot.
Thank you so much for sending it in. Folks, send in the pictures of where you've been. It's truly inspirational. And it just fills us full of ideas of where to go, doesn't it?
Well, more to the point, where would you like to see EMBN go?
Oh, I love it.
That's much better. Throw it to you. Where do you want to see the channel go and ride?
Doddy, you've nailed it. Coming up on the channel this week, on Friday, Chris talks through getting more miles from your drivetrain. Doddy, it's great you're here. Now, some people say that it's better to buy cheaper cassettes and have more of them. However, my Specialized Levo has done 5,000 kilometres on an Eagle cassette at 1052 teeth. That's good going, right?
That's really good going, Steve. But what you've got to bear in mind, there's a number of factors. You know, we often get asked on Tech Channel, you know, how long does my chain last? How long does my cassette last? You can't say, because the type of sand or mud or whatever it is you're riding is going to be different with your power combined with the bike. Totally varies.
You know, it's quite interesting. Do you remember when Fox first came up with the Kashima forks?
Yeah.
We used to, work for a former magazine, we used to send the forks back because the stanchions were wearing out. And the reason for it was because it's related to the trail centre surfacing. It was like sand, and the sand was actually wearing the Kashima coating off.
So grinding paste.
Which wasn't happening in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
So it's related to what you say about the cassettes, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, the ultimate thing you've got to look at is you've got your stuff in your bike that lasts, like the frame, and then you've got consumable parts. Those consumable parts, you're going to be wearing them out as you ride. Brake rotors, brake pads, tyres, you know, in my eyes, these things are like non-important, right? Obviously, tyres, you have to choose the correct ones for where you ride, but if you're someone that goes through components, don't waste your money on really nice high-end stuff like that.
Really?
Right? It's great stuff, don't get me wrong, and it does shift better. But what's the point if you're going to be wearing it out in the same amount of time that you would something that costs half the amount? Single track hunting somewhere.
Well, that somewhere happened to be the Lake District, and we did a loop of Helvellyn. Our colleague Louis, behind the camera, did an amazing job of that video. It's truly stunning. We had a beautiful autumn day in the Lake District, and it's probably an iconic e-mountain bike loop. And then on Monday, we actually continue this conversation about the blurring lines between mountain bikes and e-mountain bikes with a video about crossbreeds. Now, I term the new middle... So I now term the middle ground between a mountain bike and a full power e-mountain bike as a crossbreed. Now, crossbreed...
Not a mongrel.
Not a mongrel. Now, no one's mentioned the word mongrel. Now, crossbreed's got pedigree background. It's got pedigree mountain bike and pedigree e-mounts.
That's fair enough.
Background. So... Yeah. It's a video about the crossbreed e-mountain bike, and it's a very, I think it's an important video actually for people who are looking to buy their first mountain bike. So folks, that's coming out on Monday. Tech of the week this week. This is David, and this is a Fat Cat Hardtail mid-drive Lunicycle.
That's a mongrel. That's a mongrel, surely. I don't mean that in an offensive way, but it's not like a thoroughbred or a purebred like you were saying. This is something that someone's like, it's an amalgamation of things.
It's an amalgamation for sure. It's got DeWalt batteries on it.
They're drill batteries.
They're drill batteries on this bike. I think that's
really cool.
I think it's cool. I think it's innovative. It's got fat tyres on it. So
45 miles an hour.
Now this is the contentious point. Now, I mean, David, I'm not saying we don't know where you ride your e-bike, and I think if you ride on private land, 45 mile an hour.
Right in Perth, in Scotland.
Right, 45 mile an hour. On eMBN we don't ride things over 25k in the UK.
I think it just says the top speed. He doesn't say that's
top
what
speeds. The thing,
okay.
This is the weird thing, right? Is that even though an e-bike is maybe limited to 25 kilometers per hour, sometimes we're riding down downhill tracks. Over 25 kilometers an hour. Fair dues. I mean, DeWalt batteries in your bike. I think it's one of the most interesting tech of the week we've ever had. Comments from you guys this week. Again, thanks so much for your interaction with the videos that we do. Now, this one is in relation to the high bike all-rounder, which we took to North Wales with our colleague Louis behind the camera here, and we had a fantastic time. This is up from Neil Patching, who says, now that was a lovely bit of countryside, although I think I would be looking at the weather app rather than the route app. Louis, what was the weather app we looked at?
Wet.
Wet?
Well.
What was the app, Louis? Not what was the weather doing?
Venture Sky.
What was the app? Wet. That's
Wet.
Brilliant. Gee,
That says it all.
Weather Sky. What was it called?
Venture Sky.
Folks, Neil in particular, Venture Sky was the app we looked at. The wind was 80 mile an hour and the rain, I guarantee you, was horizontal, and it was a bog, which I've never ridden down before in my life, on a bridleway which did not exist. Next up is Elvisla D. I think the amount of travel only applies to an old way of thinking. These days, suspension design can cancel out the old Warrior big travel feel. I mean, look at the Pole 190 and pedals like cross-country bike. Really? 190 bike that pedals like a cross-country bike?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It pedals incredibly, and it's a very good suspension platform, but it just doesn't pedal like a cross-country bike.
It does not pedal like a cross-country bike.
I know what you're saying, though, that modern tech is just not like it used to be.
It's not.
And you could take a bike like that all day long.
But Elvisla, you say, come to Vaal in North Wales, awesome steep tracks and made for e-bikes. I want an e-bike so much. Hold on, there's two things here. So, hold on, maybe Elvis has read that it pedals like a cross-country bike. But yeah, Elvis, we will come up to North Wales, send us a message and we'll come and ride your tracks for sure. And we'll bring some e-bikes that you've never ridden before, and for sure. Doddy, final one from Adventure Venture.
Yeah, $9,103 for a mail order bike. I'm coming at this from a fresh perspective. I've never bought one, I can't test ride one, I can't tell what frame size I need, I have no idea how to get warranty work done. Sure, you can tell me about how cool and capable it is, but if you want someone to buy one, you might have to address those concerns.
Yeah.
Sure, we've made all of those videos.
We have.
Between us on the channels.
We've made them on EMBN, we've made them on GMBN Tech.
Yeah.
Actually, one point, Adventure Venture, we weren't actually telling you how, well, we kind of were telling you how capable it was, but this video is more about the fact that it can do lots of different things. It can do all mountain riding, it can do bog riding, it can do trail centre, it can do bike park riding. The video is about it wasn't about like the fine detail of the bike, it was about the whole idea of a 150, the capability of a 150mm bike. But I think, yes, Doddy's dead right. If you want to know about sizing or what travel, we've done these videos on EMBN, so I think we'll leave a link in down below to kind of put you in that right direction.
Well, we've also got loads of videos to help you on GMBN Tech as well. So obviously not about the E side of things, but for bike fit and understanding cockpit setup and width and bars and stuff, we've got all of that info. It's free information and it might help you make a choice of what bike you need.
Everything. Suspension, brakes, travel wheels, you name it, we've got it on the channels. Folks, we are now into the bike vault.
I've just opened up the first shot early. Bit premature there, Steve.
Premature.
Oh,
okay.
That's a good one.
Doddy's been premature. Let me see if we can get the bike here. And it is... oh!
What a shot. Bike looks great, and where it is looks awesome to me.
That... Chris, do you know what? That's actually one of the nicest shots I've ever seen in the bike vault.
That's super nice in all levels.
It's super nice.
It's even matched up his tyre logos.
It's almost...
if you'd have got your pedals flat as well, that would be the perfect photo.
Chris, every day of the week, a super nice shot, super nice bike. That's the high bike all mountain 6.
That's great.
Next up, Chris, I never really like a proper.
Chris.
Doddy. Venture Sky.
The backhand is getting prepared.
Wet. What's the name of the app? Wet. Where did you do it?
So this one's for Shelley. It's a Trek Powerfly 4 on the North York Moors. First time on holiday with my Powerfly. Had a wonderful time exploring where I wouldn't have normally ridden. I think that was great. Makes me want to go riding in the North York Moors. Any time I've been up there, it never looks like that. It's always raining.
Yeah, it's a bit like North Wales, but it's a nice,
beautiful.
And I think next up is a nice as well. Even though it's a super nice bike. Actually, do you know that? Is it super nice shot or a super nice bike? What's the point of the bike vault? 5 years later.
It's about the bike, but it's how you display your bike.
So
That's
two
what
things.
it's about.
Okay, so I think the next
You could
shot...
have a really nice bike and it could be a festering turd of a photo.
That's true.
Yeah, and it would never get super nice. And it's nothing to do with your bike, it's about how you've presented it.
Okay, Doddy, this is Johansson and a Merida E160. I think it's a super nice bike, but on a gate doesn't do it for me. So I think it's nice.
I know, but I'm going to argue with you a little bit here.
Here we go.
Purely just because there's a little bit of backlight and it makes you feel nice about being out riding. Makes me feel nice anyway.
Makes you feel nice. You just said it there. It doesn't make you feel super nice.
Okay. Onwards. Been shut down.
I didn't mean to shut you down. I just meant to, you know.
Whatever. Queen Elizabeth Country Park.
Doddy, I didn't mean to upset you, but it's a picture of a bike.
You have one. Move on. So we're looking at Stuart now with his Cube Stereo Hybrid 160.
Right, I'll shut up. Carry on.
It's nice.
It's nice. Oh, what was the word used earlier? The next shot?
I can't comment on your latest bike, Steve.
Do you know what? We actually had this on last week's show. But obviously people are keen
I'm
to
looking
get
at
it.
something different here.
No, you're not. You're looking at the same bike.
I am looking at the same bike now.
Obviously, TJ is keen to get the bike on the show 2 weeks running. It's actually in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Oh, wow.
Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. It's colourful. Long pause.
It's nice.
It's nice. Next shot, though.
See, like...
Can we go to Ranchos
Oh,
Palos Verdes, Doddy?
beautiful.
Can we go there tomorrow, please?
So, all right, so if this was on GMBN, you'd get lynched for this just because your bike's not showing off the drive side, but on the e-bike, I think it shows off the motor.
It doesn't matter
So-
about the drive side. Both sides
I
of the
know,
bike
but
are
there's-
equally valid.
Yeah, no, I get that, but it's just the way it's always been.
But Doddy, what's more important, can we please go to Ranchos Palos Verdes tomorrow?
I'd love to.
Thanks. Answer the question, please.
We can have like another honeymoon. It'd be great.
It's super nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
super nice.
Martin wouldn't like this next shot. Martin would not like this next shot.
What wouldn't you like about it?
He would not like the fact that it's two bikes in one.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like when someone puts a trail dog in with a bike.
I don't mind
It's-
that.
I know, but it's unfair because it makes you give it super nice because there's a trail dog.
Okay.
It's like it's cheating, isn't it?
Okay, Ross.
Do you know what? I'd like to see someone do one of those, either A, fill up with ice and beer, or B, fill up with water and ride around with someone in there. It'd be hilarious.
Doddy, I think you've just conceived...
I wouldn't fit in there. We need someone quite small.
I think you just conceived a new video again. That's two videos in one EMBN show.
Amazing.
Let's fill it
But
up
for the
with
record,
water.
the bike on the right, I give that a super nice because I'm obsessed with purple still.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the next shot is Peter's Trek Rail 9 GX in Surrey Hills.
How is that in Surrey Hills? That looks amazing.
It's
I don't recognise the bench, but
it's purple.
yeah.
It's propped up maybe inappropriately, but it's a beautiful sky. It's a lovely shot. I think it's super nice.
It's nice.
And I think this next shot by Tim Mondragon Crofty R in the King Trail in Prescott, Arizona is also a super nice shot. I think it's well constructed.
Super nice bike too.
It's a super nice bike. It's just about on the horizon. And then finally, folks, we've got an e-bike in the water.
Nice.
This is Ron in Izip Dash in Union. I'm guessing that's in New Jersey.
Why did you say that in a weird accent? It sounds a bit like Alan Muldoon.
I didn't I said New Jersey?
Yeah.
These guys are not going to know who Alan Muldoon is. Alan Muldoon is from Northern Ireland.
Yeah, and he also asked a question at the end of every sentence.
You can't say that.
I just did.
Well, you did, but it's Ron from Izip Dash in New Jersey. It's his first e-bike, and I think it's super nice.
I think it's super nice as well.
Folks, that is the end of the Bike Vault. That is the end of this week's EMBN show. Thanks so much to Doddy for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And the chat, the big chat about the blurring lines between mountain bikes and e-mountain bikes. I think the blur is all about everyone's now buying, mid-drive, and are they buying the right bikes is the question, right? It's not about the image of the bikes, it's about are you buying the right e-bike in the first place? And Doddy actually questioned that very well, I think, in this week's EMBN show. So, folks, any questions about this new breed of e-mountain bike, let us know in the questions down below. And hopefully we'll see you next week or in the weeks ahead, Doddy,
I'd
on an
love to
e-mountain
get
bike.
out on an e-bike with you, yeah.
We're
Been a
going
while.
to do that. We're going to do that.
Nice.
Yeah. And do you know what we'll do as well? We'll take the right weather right weather app with us, and it is called
Venture Sky.
Venture Sky.
He's awake again.